everyone, this is Diamond. Welcome back to Bloom Through Faith. I'm whispering because my sister's in the other room and it's kind of really early in the morning here. It's 4:27 a.m. So I really just want to be cognizant that she's trying to rest and respect that. I just felt this nudge to share this video, and so I was just like, okay, let me get up and let me film. So yeah, I'm sharing on a different kind of topic today. Usually my story times with Diamond that I film on Saturdays have a lot to do with navigating grief, navigating loss, death, change, transition, and really how to be with the presence of death. And the opportunity for those videos, the invitation that comes with those videos is to really look at the ways in which we examine our own relationship with death and maybe what our opinions are about it historically, maybe what we were taught as children or within our families, how to be with death, or maybe how not to be with death. So really, when I film those videos on Saturdays, my hope is that navigating it from the viewpoint of reading children's books and broaching the subject through the lens of how the authors are presenting this topic to children, it allows it to be more of the beauty there, and kind of a matter of fact that when there's birth, inherently there's death, right? When there needs to be change, inherently there's transformation. Inherently we're walking and we're always becoming and shedding and stepping into maybe this new type of landscape and viewpoint within life and within who we thought we were, and in each moment life is in its own way initiating us. So yeah, I hope my hope within those books and in sharing in that way is that we can become more open to having dialogue and conversation, maybe not agreeing, right? Maybe some people won't ever get to a point of being neutral about that topic because it can be so taboo. But slowly, we're able to be with it. So yeah. But today in this video, I'm just going to jump right in. We're discussing the 13 Clanmothers by Jamie Sams. It says, your sacred path to discovering the gifts, talents, and abilities of the feminine through ancient teachings of their sisterhood. So really, I have been enjoying this book. I co-hosted an event with my beautiful sister and friend Xenia, where we hosted a virtual gathering for the clan mother of the third moon, which was actually of the fourth moon, the clan mother of the fourth moon, which was Luxfar woman. And it was a very beautiful gathering. It was small and intimate, and it was beautiful to witness how there were so many interweaving threads between myself and the other women at the gathering, and how often this clan mother is always working on us, right? And just to give a little bit more info, is that there's a clan mother for each moon cycle, right? So within this one, there is a clan mother that the gathering was on the 27th, and that was also the beginning of the fifth moon clan mother, which is the listening woman. And yeah, there's just so much power in this book, and Jamie Sams really honors the beautiful teachings and the sacred wisdoms that was bestowed on her by her elders. And within this book, she is really sharing and allowing, like, within her path, and then each person who may find this book being able to incorporate indigenous feminine wisdoms into our daily lives, as well as this book has rich oral traditions. And with that, like I said, Jamie Sams passed on a lot of this information through her experience um, with her grandmothers and with the elders who received, you know, personal healings and experience with um, these female elders. So, yeah, and I also just want to share that each clan mother really provides like guidance, and they have particular medicine, and they also share particular healings that reflect that moon cycle, and different totems and animal spirits and talents and gifts and methods of being with life and being with their specific mission, with assisting and helping these, you know, the humans, or the as they call them, the two-legged beings. So to me, the clan mothers are very sacred energies, and like I said, they're always with us, and they're really here to help guide us when maybe we feel that we fell short, or that we're struggling, or things like that. I can definitely mention for the fourth clan mother, Looks for Our Woman. She really had deep, beautiful medicine on being able to see the truth in all colors, and really the gift of dreams and a vision, and being an oracle, and omens, and really being the mother of prophecy, and of seeing, again, of seeing through all colors. And so her medicine had a lot to do with the colors related to her, had a lot to do with pastels, and really seeing life through all shades, and truth in all shades. And for me, what I was noticing coming up last month in in April, is being able to really see through truth, when being able to see through truth, and who I am with a capital T, has a lot to do with shedding and releasing that which I'm not, and that which I've outgrown, and that which is no longer, in many ways, an energetic match any longer, right? And so seeing truth in all shades and colors has to do with being authentic, and being honest, and being able to really be completely, just completely honest with ourselves, if we want to step into radical change and liberation work and liberation templates. It takes really being like, how am I fooling myself? How am I really like hiding from myself? And so that's, really what I shared in the container, and also my relationship with time, and not feeling like I was having enough time, or perceiving that there's a lack of time. So yeah, it was just very, very beautiful, and very beautiful to witness nature in those seasons, and how, again, nature, as it has always been for me, sacred teachers, and ancestors, and so much reverence. And when I think about when I get so caught up in trying to control, or trying to or when I'm in resistance, being able to look at nature and how nature is breathing, how nature walks, how the seasons aren't so attached, and so I have to stay for this amount of months, and these flowers have to be here. It's like, no, the spring comes when it comes, and then it leaves, and then summer, and really being with life in that, and being able to have accountability and really be consistent, and looking at just certain behaviors that you'll notice, certain belief systems, certain ideas that are ready to be composted and fertilized, and ready to be uprooted and unearthed, and you see that new truths are actually coming to surface. And so there's this invitation to really go in and look at what we may deem as the shadow, or aspects of ourselves that we find uncomfortable, or that we don't want others to see, and to really look at how are these behaviors hindering me or serving me? Like, is this congruent with where I am as a soul? And if not, what do I want to do about it? So I find that these Clanmothers for each moon cycle are very empowering, very much inspiring, and inspire sacred action. So yeah, I can talk. So I just want to get into this next Clanmother, because we are in the 5th moon cycle. And yeah, so let's get started. I am going to share the reading with you all here, and then I'll make another video, a separate video, in regards to my own commentary and my own reflection. And yeah, so let's get started. So most likely I'll be holding it like this. There's no pictures to show you all. I mean, there's pictures here later on in the book, but yeah. So let's get started. Listening Woman. Here's a poem. Echoes of the ancestors ride the winds of change, voices of the creatures calling out my name, singing spirits on the breeze, the crashing of waves to shore, the pounding of earth's mother's heart teach me what to listen for. In stillness before dusk and dawn, hidden messages are set free. Like the chants of my people, their rhythms speak to me. My ears can hear this music, and my heart can understand. Clanmother of TOA, I am yours to command. I listen for your whispers on a course you will chart, searching for the still voice that lives within my heart. So beautiful. Okay. Clanmother of the 5th moon cycle, listening woman is the Clanmother of TOA, the stillness, whose moon cycle falls in the month of May. The color connected to her moon is black and represents seeking an answer. Her cycle of truth is hearing the truth. This Clanmother teaches us how to enter the stillness. Oh, it doesn't say stillness, but yes, she represents that. This Clanmother teaches us how to enter the silence and how to listen to the ever-present messages of nature, our hearts, the spirit world, the viewpoints of other humans, the creature teachers, and the great mystery. In Seneca tradition, entering the silence is called TOA, which is translated as the stillness. Once a person can access the stillness and hear the small, still voice within, that person has the potential to realize personal wholeness, because she has accessed the voice of inner truth. Listening Woman teaches us to listen to all of the viewpoints represented in our world in order to learn the harmony that can be found through allowing each life form to have its sacred point of view. This clan mother teaches us that we will never learn or expand if we do not listen to what is being said. She shows us the crooked tail of having to talk all the time. When we are talking, we are not listening. When we ignore or cut off the voice of another person who is telling us something we don't want to hear, we may be stopping our own growth. Many wounded people in our world do not want to hear the truth because they feel that it hurts them. The willingness to listen to the truth about oneself when it is delivered with loving compassion is a great talent and can heal old wounds. Listening woman has the ability to hear more than the words of her human children, even when they are afraid to speak the truth of how they feel. This clan mother listens to others with her heart as well as with her ears. She can hear the unspoken heart's desires of her human children as well as their unspoken fears. She can hear the nonverbal languages of the animals, plants, and stones, as well as the voices of the ancestors coming from the spirit world. Listening woman's talents are derived from her ability to be totally still, to take in all the impressions she gathers, and then to formulate a concept of the whole. Listening woman teaches us how to discern whether people are speaking the truth by listening to the inflections and feelings contained in their words. She shows us that many humans do not know how to express their personal truths because they deny their true feelings. Some humans may lie to cover their fear of retribution or punishment. Some people tell lies to feel included or important. But all people who seek untruths are detectable if we develop the art of listening. Showing compassion for those who feel they must lie is a sign of spiritual maturity. The person who lies is wounded. The untruthful people of our world are only lying to themselves because they have not heard the voice of their arendas or spiritual essences. To live in total truth is to know the light of the eternal flame of love. Listening woman hears every thought, senses every feeling, and receives every impression in TOA, the stillness. She uses her gifts of prophecy based on the information she collects. The clan mother of TOA can foretell the probable future, showing us our potentials to follow the beauty way or the crooked tail. She sends us warnings when we are off balance and encourages when we are walking with grace. The omens, portents, signs, and guideposts of life come to us because listening woman has heard our hearts, our spoken intent, our unspoken desires, or our needs. The messengers she sends our way are the allies of nature, the ancestor spirits, the creature teachers, and or the voices of our Arenda. Entering the stillness. Listening woman remembered the first human experience she went through when she came from the spirit world to walk with the earth. Many moons had passed since then, and yet the sweetness of the first moment was alive in her memory, giving her comfort amidst the all-encompassing task she faced being an advisor and counselor to her human children. Her senses drank in the smells and sensation of that long ago time, allowing her to float back into precious memory of her first awakening. Listening woman came into her human form in a giant caravan where the blackness was complete. Even with her eyes open, she was surrounded by total darkness and vast nothingness. She did not know that her human eyes could encompass the beauty of the natural world. She was enveloped in the scent of damp earth, a faint smell of growing rock formations, and the clean, sweet perfume of her own body. In the darkness, she felt her human flesh She felt for her human flesh for the first time, reveling, reveling in the sensation of smooth skin and pliant, well-formed muscles. She touched her head and was surprised at how her hair softly covered her shoulders, falling below her hips like a mantle to protect her from the chill of the caravan. With every movement of her body, she felt other textures, the tiny grains of pebble-like sand covering the surface beneath her, gently rubbing her legs. She heard moisture dripping from the ceiling above, giving delight as a drop or two hit her skin, sending new sensations through her body. The soft roundness of her body and breast was very different from the strong muscular legs that curled beneath her torso while she sat on the caravan's floor. Her fingertips traced the lines of her lips, and she noticed that they were full and soft, the texture of the skin being different from the chin beneath on the cheekbones above, As she fingered the curve of her eyes, she gave a start when she realized that the eyelids were coverings used to protect the sensitive round orbs beneath them. One eye watered, cleansing itself from her unknowing touch, sending a tear coursing down her cheek. She noted the unfamiliar sensation of discomfort and wetness as a part of her discovery. She made a mental note that some parts of this human form were very sensitive and would need to be handled with care. As Listening Woman continued her discovery by touching her neck, she felt the strong, lean curve of the graceful pedestal that held her head above her body, beneath the skin in the back. The skeletal form of her spine that gave her flesh a frame felt angular in comparison to the firm smoothness of the muscles that covered them. Her fingertips moved up the side of her neck, and she felt the shell-like appendages on her ears. And the deep darkness of the caravan, the guardian of inner knowing, could hear the slightest movement of her hands, the gentle rasp of her breath, the dripping of water droplets, and the rustle of her legs against the cave's floor when she shifted her body's position. She drank in every sound as she moved and touched her feet, toes, ankles, and shins, marveling in the magnificence of the human form she had inherited. As Listening Woman stretched her body, she found the ways in which she could position her form. She discovered gurgles coming from the organs within her torso. A slight ache in the middle of her belly resounded with a rumble that echoed through the cavern. She was concerned with the new development and silently sent her thoughts to the Earth Mother. Mother, I do not understand this sound and the ache in my middle. I feel like something is missing, and yet I know that the great mystery created these beautiful human forms in wholeness. What do I need to learn? The Earth's Mother's voice filled the mind and heart and Listening Woman as she answered her daughter. The Earth's Mother's voice filled her mind and heart as she answered her daughter. These sounds are a part of the human body, child. Sometimes these gurgling noises mean that the body is digesting the fuel that is needed to give the body strength. At other times, the rumbles mean that the body needs sustenance to maintain its stamina. You are feeling the ache because there is a hunger for the food your body needs. Listening Woman sat in the stillness, feeling the ache deep in her belly and listening to the accompanying sounds to become familiar with the language of her body's needs. She asked the Earth Mother how she could feed the form that housed her spirit. The Earth Mother spoke to her daughter, explaining that a basket of food had been placed in the cavern very close to the Clanmother, and that by using her sense of touch, Listening Woman could find it and feed herself. The keeper of introspection began to grope the space around herself in a circular motion, encountering the basket of food a short distance away. She felt the textures of each of the food substances while the Earth Mother told her how to taste and chew and swallow. The sound of eating was very different depending upon the choice of food she made. Some sounds were softer, allowing her to hear the swirls of her tongue over the juicy flesh of a ripe peach. When she bit into a carrot, the loud crunch of her teeth against the firmness of the vegetable echoed in her ears and filled the emptiness of the cavern with waves of startling sounds. The sitting woman was amazed by the volume of noises and paused, afraid to continue to swallow. The gentle laughter of the Earth Mother filled the Clanmother's sense of inner knowing, relieving her trepidation. The Earth's Mother's joyous assurance that all was as it should be gave the Clanmother a desire to crunch louder. The keeper of discernment found the feelings inside of herself that told her that it was all right to continue. So she crunched down on the bite of carrot and made the loud echoes again and again, filling the cavern with the sounds of enjoyment that came from relishing in the sweet taste of the carrot. Listening woman noticed that her body was no longer groaning and that the feeling of something being missing was gone. A new feeling of fulfillment had replaced the emptiness, and she noticed the contentment and sense of well-being that flooded her body. She kept the basket near her in case the rumble started again, because she had no idea how often her new body would need food. She returned her attention to the sounds and sensations found in the obsidian blackness of the cavern. The stillness was interrupted by the reverberating sound of liquid dropping from the ceiling of the cavern and hitting a large pool of water behind her. The Earth Mother urged her to find her sense of direction by noting where the sounds come from and to follow the splashes until she reached their origin. The Clanmother crawled toward the drip and splash noises until she felt the same kind of wetness she had discovered when the tear had rolled down her cheek. The Earth Mother explained that the liquid was water and did not taste salty like the tears from the listening woman's eye. The sweet water was used to quench thirst and dryness and was essential to her human body. Listening woman learned how to cup her hands and take the water to her lips and drink. The accompanying sound were not unlike the gargle she had heard coming from hunger. The Clanmother discovered that she could make different noises when she lapped the water, slurped, or swallowed. The echoes of each sound filled the pregnant void with a myriad of resounding waves of vibration, giving listening woman a multitude of new noises to experience. At one point in her process of reaching into the water, the Clanmother encountered a small stone. She pulled the stone person from the pool and felt the solid form, noticing that it was much harder than the bones of her body and larger than the petals that covered the floor of the cavern. When the stone person spoke to her in the same way that Earth Mother had spoken to her inner knowing, listening woman was so startled, and she dropped the stone person in the pool of water with a resounding splash. The stone person continued to speak to her, explaining that he was a friend. Groping in front of her to retrieve the rock, listening woman found herself making all sorts of strange noises. Her breath started to come in harder gusts, and she could hear the pounding of her heart as she frantically felt below the water surface for the friend she had dropped in the moment of surprise. The stone person guided her hands to his resting place and then began to explain how he could aid her in the further discovery of her gifts, talents, and abilities. I am a rock person who holds the libraries of all that has passed on the Earth Mother. Together, we can approach the outside world, learning that you need to experience, learning what you need to experience in order to fulfill your mission. You have already begun the journey by learning the languages of your body's needs, how to hear the Earth's Mother's voice, and how to listen to my words. Here in the darkness, you are beginning to develop the skills of understanding that make up the many levels of sound without sight, taste and touch without visual contact, and feelings without outside confusing influences. The first encounter with your abilities of perception will allow you to hear the truth in every situation you encounter in physical life. The darkness of the void of the unknown will be comforting to you, and the answers you seek will come through your ability to hear them. Listening woman breathed, breath came in soft, even rhythms as she held her new friend in her heart. The keeper of discernment felt a kinship and a trust between herself and the stone person, who called himself Hageji, old man, in his ancient form. Listening woman found the comfort of a kindred spirit because her own spiritual essence was as old as the Earth Mother and Grandmother Moon, who were created in the spirit world by the Great Mystery. Old Man understood the Clanmother's desire to find out all that she could about her humanness and the things she needed to master on her path to wholeness. That friendship had been the beginning of her journey. The long ago memory and how much she had grown with Old Man's assistance created a chain of pictures and sensation that flooded listening women's mind and senses. She recalled her first experience with light and the gentle steps that Old Man had insisted that she take when they emerged from the cavern. Old Man had introduced her to Aunt, who had taught her the medicines of patience, and Aunt had spoke of the wisdom of taking the time needed for her eyes to adjust to the light that filtered into the cavern. The brightness I love this so much. The brightness of the outside world grew as the Clanmother and Old Man spent one sun and slept closer to the entrance of the cave, allowing listening woman to keep her hearing abilities intact while she blended her talent of listening with the new experience of sight. Her excitement at seeing new colors and forms nearly got the best of her in those first sighted moments. The urge to rush into discovery had to be curtailed for her to maintain a physical, emotional, and spiritual balance. Now, many moons later, listening woman was happy that she had honored the wisdom and harmony that had allowed her to emerge from the cavern into the outside world in a balanced way. Her mind returned to another memory of the progress she had made during the winter. She had learned about the other two-legged humans she would share the world with during her journey on the red road of life. In those early times when she encountered other human beings, listening woman was able to develop her gifts of inner knowing because humans had not yet developed the speech. The human tribe spoke Hellowe and the language of love. This nonverbal language expressed the heart of any matter a two-legged needed to communicate. In silence, the observer had to watch and note the expressions, movements, and feelings being shared by the one who was communicating. To receive the wholeness of any message, the listener had to focus on the person communicating without interjecting or interrupting. Listening woman had mastered the art of hearing the language of love, and other times heard the thoughts of others through her ability to access their inner knowing as well as her own. The clan mother remembered how she had been able to teach others the same talent of understanding the voice of another's heart, and how the human tribe had benefited in those early times. Since then, the Earth Mother had completed many rotations around Grandfather's Sun, and the children of Earth had grown and changed, some for the better and some for worse. The progression of human spiritual evolution was a concern to Listening Woman because she had witnessed the truth, and she had witnessed the crookedness that some verbal language had brought forth in those who wanted to hide the misaligned truths of their intentions. Greed and desire for control had given birth to forked tongues and double meanings in the spoken word. Her talents had naturally been honed into precision during the course of her encounters with the individuals who spoke with the seeming sincerity that masked their hidden agendas. Listening Woman had developed the gift of being a true observer by entering the stillness of her own being and having no preconceptions while she listened to others. Observing every movement of their bodies and every crescendo or cadence of their voice, the clan mother could easily see if the speaker was nervous, hiding something, or merely shy. Over the passage of seasons, Listening Woman earned her role of being the keeper of discernment. Every feeling of warning that issued forth from her navel, the feeling center of the body, sent shock waves through her sense of well-being and allowed her to discern who to trust, with whom she needed to with whom she needed to exercise caution. Many of her lessons had been hard-earned. She had been forced by circumstance to pay attention to actions rather than words. This form of observing took a deeper concentration and focus as the clan mother delved further into listening to her heart's impressions of the speaker in front of her. It had been during one of those particular difficult situations that Listening Woman had been blessed with hearing the voice of her Orinda, her spiritual essence. The bitter cold of that winter sun had made it almost impossible to relax into Tiowe, the stillness. Listening Woman had nearly decided that the time was not right for her to hear the stories of the two men who had asked for her advice. The winter winds pressed through any tiny opening in the hide that covered the entrance of the cavern of the tribe she was with, creating unwelcomed wafts of cold that sent every muscle into tense knots. The clan mother knew that she risked becoming short-tempered with the men and that she might have had a difficult time discerning their shivers from the telltale signs that usually allowed her to perceive hidden meanings or untruths. She knew that in meeting with these two men, she would have to stretch her capacity to hear the truth, listening to their inner thoughts and unspoken intentions. During the time that the three spent together, the clan mother listened with her whole being, sensing the urgency of the situation as well as the impatience of one of the men. The viewpoints of the men differed greatly, making each certain that the other was incapable of understanding the guardian of introspection. Was incapable of understanding. The guardian of introspection took the time she needed before saying anything and told the men that they would meet again during the following sun. After the men left her fire, Listening Woman felt confused by all she had heard, the gestures of each man and the way the bitter cold had robbed part of her focus. As she sat gazing into the flames of her twig fire, she closed her eyes and felt deep inside her own being. A feeling of warmth rose itself from the stillness and poured through her like golden honey, sweet and rich. The clan mother felt herself expanding beyond the limits of her human form and then beyond the walls of the cavern the tribe called home. In the stillness, she heard a faint whisper, a voice she did not recognize. The orange flames flickered with light and shadow against her closed eyelids as she followed the whisper into the grayness that boarded her senses. The journey took her into the blackness of the void, of the unknown, beyond the boundaries of her perceptions. The voice grew clearer and more animated the closer she traveled to the sound. A light began to emerge in the darkness of the void, leading Listening Woman to a brilliance she had never encountered before. The light was made of multicolored bursts of flames that changed with the cadence of the voice that spoke from the center of the fire. Listening Woman felt a lump rise in her throat and tears sting her human eyes as she discovered the voice of her Renda. She had ventured beyond her human form, yet she could feel every emotion and subtle change in her body. She heard the sound of her throat trying to swallow, the crackling of the twig fire, the almost imperceptible sob caused her by her joyous tears, and the voice of her spiritual essence. In her state of heightened awareness, the Clanmother understood all of the steps of passage and how each and every lesson had brought her to this moment of personally realized wholeness. The voice of her Renda was the welcoming voice. Was the welcoming. The voice of her Renda was the welcoming voice that signaled that she had come home to the true self. An overwhelming rush of emotions rocked her body with feelings of gratitude, permanence, humility, wonder, nurturance, belonging, achievement, and the desire to know more. She was taken aback by the beauty of the eternal flame of love that held the Renda's voice dancing in her mind's eyes. In the heartbeat, she was aware of the Earth's mother's nurturance of her physical form and the great mysteries, loving protection of her spiritual essence. The two worlds of spirit and of tangible substance had become one inside of her Renda. She heard the harmony of creation issue forth from the center of her being, singing the music found in all spheres of life. Every life form had a melody intricately harmonizing with all of the others. There was no room for discord in the symphony of sounds that flowed through her perceptions. Her heart, body, mind, and spirit had a new sense of wholeness. Nothing seemed too far, too great to encompass. As her ability to hear every voice in creation grew stronger inside of her being, the desire to have every human being share in her experience was interrupted by the voice of her Renda. Self of myself, you're experiencing the Creator's desire of unlimited joy. You're blessed with the generosity of spirit that wants all others to find their inner knowing. Until each human being has walked the paths to wholeness that you have walked, they cannot fully understand the ecstasy and bliss of your experience. Every being must be given the opportunities that they need in order to find their individual paths home to the true self of the capital S. Listen to their hearts and guide them in a way that allows them to know that they may accomplish the task of homecoming for themselves. Listening Woman asked the voice of her Renda if there were some ways that she could direct her human children, and the voice of her Renda replied, "Teach them how to listen to the voice of the natural world. Call upon Hawk, who is the messenger that carries those words of wisdom to assist you in showing the two-legged how to listen. Teach them the compassion of ant, whose medicine is patience, and the wisdom of the armadillo, whose medicine shows them how to keep the feelings and troubles of others out of their sacred space by using boundaries." So beautiful. Show the human beings the listening abilities of Rabbit and how he teaches his medicine of not listening to unrealistic fears. Point out the medicine of Mockingbird, who teaches two-leggeds the gift of recalling and repeating all they have heard. Call upon Ferret to use his medicine of ferreting out the answers by using deduction and reason. Porcupine can assist your children by teaching them the medicine of faith and innocence. They will need to have faith in their paths, their abilities, and their connection to the great mystery, as well as the kind of innocence and humility that keeps the limitations of skepticism and ignorance from daunting their progress. Deep inside her heart, listening woman recorded all that the voice of her Orinda had shared with her. The guardian of introspection understood that she had completed her final rites of passage, which reflected her personal realization of wholeness. Her next steps on the great medicine wheel of life would be teaching her human children how to hear and interpret the messages they receive. The roar of the sea lion resounded in her memory, reminding her that she could call on the abilities of the seals and the sea lions to teach her human children the medicine of riding the waves of their emotions and feelings in order to discover all facets of themselves. Through trusting their feelings, her human children could learn the many levels of discernment necessary for hearing the truth. Listening woman had learned many lessons during the sun of bitter cold and fiery feelings of wholeness. Then she had applied the new understanding to the two women who had asked for her counsel. She had taught the two men how to see the harmony in the other's viewpoints by making them stand in the position of the other, pretending to voice the opposite viewpoint until they respected each other's opinions. Those early events seemed so very long ago. During the generations that follow, listening woman had grown and continued to develop her skills. As if they were rare medicine objects, she quietly put away her precious memories, wrapping them in TOA until the stillness, using the stillness like a medicine bundle to hold the sacred remembrance of her passage. Now it was time for the Clanmother to enter TOA and listen to the words of a young woman who was struggling to understand her dreams and the messages she had received. As grandfather's sun rode low in the sky nation, listening woman helped the young dreamer to interpret the symbols and spoken wisdom she had gathered from her visions. Listening woman showed the younger woman how to ask herself leading questions that would enable her to find her own answers. The tools that the Clanmother used sparked understanding, always asking the young woman to think, to remember, to feel, and to honor the still and inner voice that insisted that the dreamer hear the truth inside her own heart. Listening woman would listen to the girl and then ask, "How did that make you feel?" Or what did that creature seem to be teaching you? In every instance, when a person seeking counsel felt safe and like she or he was really being heard, the inner knowing would shine forth. Listening woman found herself becoming a reflector for those seeking assistance, always recognizing that at some point all of her children needed to be reassured. Some were frightened of the stillness, others were afraid of the darkness of the void, still others were scared of what they might hear because they had been denying the truth inside themselves. Each member of the human tribe was an individual who had to follow the path to wholeness that suited him or her, but all of the human tribe would have to discover inner hearing before those paths would reach the wholeness they sought. Hearing the voice of the Orinda was the manner in which all humans would eventually realize their potentials. Without that ability to listen to their heart's desires and inner truths, they were lost. Listening woman taught them that the first step on every individual path was learning to listen to their bodies and to each other with respect. Later, they were taught the skills of listening to nature and then how to hear and interpret the unspoken messages of the natural world and the voices of the ancestors that rode on the winds. Further along the path to wholeness, the children of earth learned how to listen to their own spoken words, comparing what they actually said to the truth found in the Orinda's voice. This step was a weeding out process that struck at the heart of the limitations and illusions found along the red road of human life. As listening woman reviewed the skills she had been able to pass along to the children of earth, the fluttering of her heart caught her attention. She focused on the flutter and found the voice of her Orinda filled with love. A shudder went through the Clanmother's body as the voice spoke. The children of earth would hear their wounds and find the same joy that you have cradled in your heart. The children of earth will heal their wounds and find the same joy that you have cradled in your heart. Self of myself, there is a more inner peace available with each passing season because more members of the human tribe are discovering the way home. The love is returning as the flow of life increases and the two-leggeds find the eternal flame of love inside of themselves. Halloween, the language of love will return. They will once again be able to hear the pureness of each other's hearts and understand the harmony of creation that the great mystery has given as a legacy of peace. All life forms will live together as one and will support all others without judgment or exception. Listen, can you hear it? As the voice of her Orinda faded, listening women heard the faint murmurs of the breeze, building in pitch, climbing the ridges across sacred mountains, encircling the Earth Mother. The voices of the ancestors rode the winds of change, whispering to all who could hear. Now is the time of the return of White Buffalo. It is time to set aside your fears and to join us in the quest for wholeness and unity. Children, call to this grandmother who can teach you the harmony of your heart's inner peace. Listening woman hears your calls and stands ready to show you how to discover the way. Listen for the soft falling footsteps of your ancestors amid the pounding of the white buffalo's hooves, and know that every night we light the homecoming fires across the great expanse of Sky Nation. In TOA, we wait. We send you on our ancient whispers to mark the harmony trail back to your heart's home. Listening woman sat in the stillness and listened. The emerging voices that were calling her name. The emerging voices that were calling her name came as no surprise. The time of humans to listen and to reach for spiritual wholeness, discarding separation and limitation, have finally arrived. So that is the end of this specific chapter regarding listening women. And just so much beauty for this month of May and this cycle of hearing the truth through the viewpoint of entering the stillness in TOA. So that's all for now. Really, really excited to share more and to record that next video. And what I'm also feeling is like an inkling of I may also open up the possibility and the invitation to also maybe hold a virtual gathering in regards to um, this specific Clanmother. It was just so much potent medicine and so much beauty. So thank you all for listening. So much love to you, and I'll see you soon. Bye.